Hello, everyone. Welcome to the first ILTACON 2023 informational webinar designed to prepare you for a successful ILTACON. Today's webinar will contain about 20 minutes of information and will leave plenty of time for question and answer at the end. Please use the Q&A and chat boxes to submit your questions, and we will answer them either during the presentation or after during the question and answer period. This webinar is being recorded, and a link to the recording and slide deck will be added to the ILTACON website within 24 hours of the conclusion of this presentation. We have a lot of content to cover today, as you can see, from important dates and deadlines all the way through sponsorship opportunities. Before we get into the dates and deadlines, I wanted to let you know I'm Tracy McCrae. I'm joined today on the webinar by Dawn Hudgens, Tyler Howes, Ashley Kowitz, and Sharon Stewart. We can be reached through the emails on the screen, events@iltanet.org and sponsor@iltanet.org email addresses. First up, we've got some important dates and deadlines for you, starting with today, the kickoff. Today's webinar, March 15th. Most important, or one of the more important, is ILTACON speaker applications open on Monday, March 20th. They will be open for approximately 4 weeks. So be sure to note that down and be on the lookout for additional information. We are going to have the booth lottery at the end of the month, March 30th. You can see other dates and deadlines on the screen, and this slide deck will be available after the webinar is over, so you will have access to these slides. These dates are also in the business partner calendar on our website. Note, registration opens on site on August 20th. We are almost there. Next, we have 6 informational webinars, including this one, to prepare you for a successful ILTACON. Today, we are mostly covering the lottery, booth selection, and we are going to touch on sponsorship opportunities. Because that one has so much information, we have a separate webinar dedicated to sponsorship opportunities, additional webinars for first-time business partners, 2 webinars that are very tactical, such as badge assignment, housing, your online portal, and another one dedicated to the GES service kit, ordering items, AV, Wi-Fi, as well as booth and demo room food and beverage. I'm going to post a link to the chat in a moment. But now I am going to turn it over to Tyler Howes, who is going to cover the ILTACON booth lottery. Tyler?
Thank you, Tracy. Welcome everyone on the call. Again, I'd like to review a few of these dates. Tracy touched on the March 30th date already, but that is the date for the upcoming booth lottery. On April 13th through the 28th, that will be the period of time where we'll actually start scheduling our calls, so you all can select your booth and any available sponsorships in which you may have interest in. Knowing the number of sponsors that we do have currently, this may run a little bit into May. In past years, we were doing maybe 8 to 10 calls a day at 20 minutes apart. We are going to try to space that out a little bit this year. I think that'll benefit everyone involved in that particular process. John? Next slide, please. I also want to take a few minutes and talk about the lottery and the recent enhancement that we communicated earlier in the year. Based on some feedback that we did receive from our business partner community, we've added a new criterion, and it's really, as shown here in the slide, designed to reward our business partners who have been active and who have supported ILTA for multiple years. Business partners now are going to be grouped into 4 categories within each sponsorship level based on their years of corporate sponsorship. Category 1 will be the highest, and I will go in a little bit of detail here momentarily. And when we went through this process, we did attempt to acknowledge longevity and support, but also wanted to come up with a fair approach as well. Some of the factors are actually the main factors that we considered when establishing the categories. We did go back and we analyzed data or used data going back to 2016. I wanted to be sure we had data that we had sound data integrity. So that's the year that we selected. And then as we went through the process, partners were given credit for the years in which they've been a partner. And during that time, this also includes 2023 or this year as well. The years don't have to be consecutive. Some years people couldn't participate for one reason or another. We didn't want to punish folks for that. So we looked at the total years within that particular period of time. The lottery category levels are as follows. Category 1, if you have 6 years of sponsorship, going back again to 2016 year, category 1, 4 to 5 years, category 2, category 3 will be 2 to 3 years, and new partners will be in category 4, which essentially would be the 1 year of the 2023. That'd be this year, obviously, and you'll get credit for that, but you would be in category number 4. And then as we apply all these different levels of criteria, we'll start with the sponsorship level. So we would start with the platinum, with the ILTA Max and work down to silver. And then within each sponsorship level, we will apply the category 1 through 4. And then the third element would actually be the lottery number. And again, we'll establish that on our call on March 30th. Shortly after that call, probably the following Monday, the latest Tuesday, we will distribute the results, one of the lottery itself, very typical what we did last year and prior years, but we will also send you a second document that will show you where you'll be selecting based on these 3 elements here. So you'll get really 2 documents from us. If you have any questions about your level, please don't hesitate to reach out to your CSM or to me directly. We're more than happy to chat about that. We do realize this is new and there'll be some questions, but we're here to answer those at your convenience. Now I will turn it over to Dawn, and she will be addressing some speaking opportunities and also reviewing the layout of the property. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Tyler. All right, so speaking opportunities, I know you guys love those, so let's talk about those for a moment. We have education sessions where we invite you to apply to speak or moderate a session. In years past, we have kind of limited these to X amount for business partners or even firms. But our goal is to seek the best speakers, the best thought leaders, period. So we no longer have that stipulation to where it is an X amount of speaking opportunities. So if you are a fantastic speaker and you're engaging and you have lots of knowledge to share, then we invite you to apply to speak. Speaker applications are open March 20th and they go through April 17th. Just to make a little plug here, Legal Sec Summit speaker applications are now open, so you can go out there and apply for those at the moment as well. We do invite you to sponsor the keynotes. When you sponsor a keynote, you have an opportunity to address our entire membership that's attending the keynotes to talk a little bit about your organization. And so that you know, this year, like typically in past, we've just had the keynote available for those parties who are sitting in the room with us. This year, we're going to be streaming those. So you're going to be able to reach a little bit further this year than you have in past. Master classes and company updates are available this year, so we encourage you to do those. And of course, you can host speaking and educational sessions in your demo room if you'd like. So turn your demo room into a speaking nook and invite ILTA attendees to your unique experience. So let's talk about the overall layout of this event. We are using a campus model this year. I've chosen this photo specifically to kind of show you a few things. If you look, I don't know if you guys can see my cursor, but if you look to the left here, you can see the dolphins that are placed on top of the Dolphin Hotel and swans on top of the Swan Hotel. And in the background, you can see the Epcot sphere. Every night at 9 p.m. above that sphere is a fireworks show. So keep in mind as you are planning some of your activities on property. There's a lot of great activities on property. I'll talk about this in a little bit, but there are beer gardens, there are small gardens, there's all kinds of rooms and balconies and the causeway and different places where you can host events. So just want to encourage that. Let me go down to another slide here. And this is going to show a little bit of the Yacht and Beach Resort. We are over Swan and Dolphin, Yacht and Beach this year. We'll talk a little bit about the walking paths and how long it takes to get from point A to point B. With that comes some stipulations as well on the number of nights you must stay in order to be in particular hotels. And we'll cover that in a little bit. Here's a closer look at the Swan and Dolphin and some of the things that you can have access to in that hotel, as well as like some restaurants and transportation options. This particular image shows exactly where we will be for our education and conference activities. The location, the star closest to the bottom of the screen, that's actually the Swan Convention Area. It is at the back of the Swan Hotel. There's the walkway that goes in between the water that takes you into the Dolphin Hotel. And then the convention area for the Dolphin is all the way back at that star that is near the top of the screen in the center. And then you can see a little road just to the right of that, where you would walk across through the greenery to the star in the upper right-hand corner where the Yacht and Beach Convention Center is. And those are where our education and activities will be taking place this year. Here's a little bit more detailed piece to show you about walking and transportation times. We will be having golf carts available this year. So I don't have golf cart times, but that'll depend on the driver, but we do ask you to follow the rules of the road and not to speed for that, because that would be a problem. But regarding walking and transportation times, we have listed here from the exhibit hall, not just the Dolphin, but from the exhibit hall on the Pacific area to the Yacht Convention area. That's about a 6 to 7 minute walk. That includes registration from the Dolphin third floor to the Swan Convention Center, registration from the Dolphin third floor to the boardwalk entrance, and the boardwalk entrance to the Yacht Convention Center. So we have personally timed these. This is at a steady walk. It's not necessarily a meandering slow walk. It's not speed walking. It's somewhere right in the middle. So if you walk fast, you can cut these times down. If you talk and walk slowly, it will increase these times. So just kind of know, and you can look at this a little bit later and study this map to get a good idea of what that looks like. With the transportation on this particular resort, not only can you walk, but you do have the golf carts, and then there is also boat transportation. There are two different boats that leave the causeway from the in between the Dolphin and the Swan. So just make sure you're on the right one. But it's actually a nice way to travel if you're not in a hurry to go to the yacht club or even over to the boardwalk. So here's a quick guide in case you want to look more deeply from our agenda for the events of the week on where things are, so that you can kind of plan where your demo rooms are. So you can plan where you want to have some ancillary activity to drive members to your booths or to meetings. And I welcome you to take a look at this in greater detail because this is a lot of information. I'm not going to read you the whole slide because you're more than capable of doing that. But it is detailed as to what we will be offering and where it is located. And then you can look at the screen right before it and determine how long it takes you to get from point A to point B so that you can plan your activities best. So let's take a look at some of our floor plans for the event. We're going to start at the Yacht Club, Yacht Convention Center side. If you take a look down here in the right-hand corner, there's a green arrow. That is the entry area if you are staying at the beach resort, the Disney Beach Resort. And then if you look over at the far left, where the arrows are pointing both to the left and to the right, that is how you would enter if you were taking the scenic route from the Dolphin floor level 1, just coming out of the Pacific side of the exhibit hall, walking over to the convention side for Yacht Club. That is where you would enter there. So that kind of gives you an idea of how this is sitting in between the properties. In the Yacht Convention Center area, we have several things. We have 4 of our 8 education rooms. So education is divided between Yacht Convention Center and the Dolphin Convention Center. We have our keynote, opening session, company updates, orientation, and our Thursday night hot tropical nights themed closing reception, and our annual board meeting that we have on site for members. In the Yacht Convention Center, there's also availability for 5 demo rooms, as well as what we're calling bump outs. And these don't have doors, and that's why. But they've done some interesting things with the floor plan here. And if you look over here where the Asbury Rotunda is, which is where we will have one of our 2 satellite reg desks and Ask ILTA desks, there are 2 stars here. Those used to be old phone banks, and what they have done is just turn those into, they're nice little sitting areas. You can, the one has a desk in there, you can have some great conversations with people coming in and out of the education sessions and orientation. It is on the walkway back to the Dolphin, which is where the exhibit hall and the other 4 education and the ILTA Cafe will be for lunch. So it's got a really, they're not big, but they do have great access and they're in a great location. So be thinking about that. Moving over to the Dolphin, we're going to start on the convention entrance level, which they call floor 3. I'm going to go ahead and tell you, I find this weird. There's a floor 1, a floor 3, and a floor 5, but you will not notice that there's a 2 and a 4. So just know that they're odd numbers, and that's just kind of how it is. So you enter from the lobby of the Dolphin convention side, and you will come into where we will have registration. This is our second registration desk. Please note that registration, no matter if you are at the Yacht Club going to registration or if you're at the Dolphin going to registration, those registrations are open to all badge types. Doesn't matter if you're a business partner, doesn't matter if you're press, doesn't matter if you're staff or if you're a member. You can go to either desk, whichever is most convenient for you, based on where your sleeping rooms are or where you happen to be at that moment. From the 3rd floor, if you see this aqua box right here, that is actually one of the 3 entrances to the exhibit hall. I usually call this one number 3 because it's on the 3rd floor, but we'll get to that in a moment when we look at a different slide. All of the rooms in the Europe, Asia, and Oceanic that are in pink are all demo rooms. If you look down here to where it says Europe 1, 2, and 3, there are escalators here. These escalators go up to either floor 5 of the Dolphin Convention Center, which we have 4 education rooms that are located up there, as well as the ILTA Cafe and the ILTA Hub, where members typically go to sign up to volunteer and to get information. Those have some sponsorship opportunity, but it's also a great place to go up or down here. So this area is in a good location. And then we'll go to the next level, which is our level 5. The escalators are located here to the right. Those are just as you enter in the convention center. Level 3, you go up to 5 from that area. It's another option where we have 4 education rooms. And then we have 3 more bump outs here to the side. These are the 2 on the outer end are about the same size as the one at the Yacht Convention Center, and the one in the center is very large. And so those of you thinking about doing something unusual, like maybe doing a podcasting or like mini education sessions, or I don't know, maybe you want to give out your custom labeled private alcoholic beverages to people who show up in these education sessions, you could set up a little location there. Those are just some options that you have. When you come down the southern floor area to the northern floor area, the northern hemisphere will be where the ILTA Cafe is located. That is where lunch will be served. And lunch will be served there on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Thursday, the lunches will be split between the Yacht Convention Center opening session room, where we will have our annual group meeting. And then business partners will have lunch available to them, and those not attending the annual group meeting will have lunch available to them in another location. And we'll let you know more about that when we actually get to that webinar. There are escalators located down here in the very center that will then take you to floor 1, which is where you will find the exhibit hall. So down here we have a number 2. Those are the escalators. That's where the escalators come out from levels 5 and 3, empty out right here in the Atlantic exhibit hall area where the door number 2 is. You can see door number 3, which I mentioned earlier when we were talking about right outside of registration. This is one way that you enter the exhibit hall. But then if you come down here all the way to the left, there's another one here. It's an entrance way in the Pacific Hall. And that arrow to the left of it is how you walk over. Those are the doors you would take to walk over to the Yacht Convention Center. So if someone were to ask me, what is the best entrance to the exhibit hall this year? I'm going to tell you my honest answer is 1, 2, and 3, because they all have their benefits and they all have their negative elements as well. If you were with us in 2019, we had originally planned to have it at the entrance number 2, but the escalators broke. So we had to open up level 3. So things do happen. But we have 3 entrances this time, and we have multiple exits. But we will only have those 3 doors open for the exhibit hall. And if you want to know why it is that we don't have all of them open, it truly has everything to do with security and the availability of security at each of those entrances. If we take a look at the exhibit hall, really, really excited about the exhibit hall this year. We have some really cool things in here. So aside from, let's start the Pacific Hall, we have our startup booths and a startup stage on that end. We also have in the very center of both Pacific and Atlantic, a Nook rest park. These rest parks will include some nice green hedges, it'll include sofas and tables, but we'll also have some opportunity for you to sponsor Nooks, where if you want to have small meetings on the floor, they're completely cleanable with your logo and messaging on it. And it's a great little place to have a meeting. We also have several lounges located throughout and 2 massage alleys where we are looking to put some massage chairs in there. We heard some of you say that you didn't really like people touching your shoulders, but you still appreciate a massage. So we've looked at some really high-tech massage chairs that we will be offering this year. And something that I'm extremely excited about, and you'll hear me talk about this a little bit later, is our goat lounge. We will not be having small furry goats running around in there. This is for the greatest of all time lounge. And this is actually a living hedge bar. It is a sponsorable event. If you guys have been to any of the large conferences around, you've seen this happen to where you ring a little bell and a little gloved hand sticks its hand through the hedge and hands you a lovely chilled alcoholic beverage. And so we'll be offering that up for sponsorship. In between the areas of the Atlantic and the Pacific, not only will you have your GES station in case you need to go speak to GES about different things, we'll also have our stage there and we'll have that set up for food beverage, and we'll also have some tables in there so that later in the evening, when we have our cocktail and comedy lounge times, that will be taking place in our center area here to drive traffic from both sides, but also it allows you the opportunity, if you do not want to be near the music or near the comedy, you can stay further out in one of the other lounges and still have access to the bar, access to the food, and have a quieter conversation that way as well. Wait, I was going to mention something. Nope. Oh yeah, hall hours. We've done some change on the exhibit hall hours this year. We had a PAC subcommittee, and this is where this comes from. So Monday, we will have our opening reception. We'll talk about our theme in a little bit. Tuesday, the exhibit hall will open at 10 a.m. right after the keynote and stay open until 6 p.m., which is just past our cocktail and comedy time. Same with Wednesday. And then Thursday, the exhibit hall will be open from 9 until 12. And after 12, then you have the opportunity to have lunch and tear down of your booths. I was bringing this back up just to kind of remind you this right here to show you where the 3rd floor entrance is for the exhibit hall. And that is over here at 3. And then if we go back over here to the left here, the green arrow that's on the far left, that's the entrance into the Asbury Rotunda area for the Yacht Convention Center. If you are exiting the Pacific area at entrance one to the exhibit hall, walking over, that's where you would enter in. So now we're going to go over to the Swan. The Swan is about a 6-minute walk from the Dolphin across the causeway, and it's an 11-minute walk from the Yacht and Beach Convention Center if you are taking the scenic route of going across the bridge in the beautiful water and those types of things. In the Swan, we have some specialty activities and things going on. One is a G100, G200, which takes place on Monday. Those will be located in the Mockingbird and the Pelican. And if you've ever been to this side, you know that that's a nice little U-shaped area. It's a really great area if you, when you have the reception that evening for the G100, G200, both areas have great access to that and a lot of area to chat and walk around. But in the Toucan, if you notice, in between the Pelican and the Mockingbird, we're going to have a showcase area there. So if you happen to be sponsoring the G100 or the G200, you have an opportunity as part of your sponsorship to include some pop-ups. You can bring in a monitor in there and do some demos, or just have an opportunity to show some things to the G100, G200 that maybe you have new that's coming out that you would like to chat with them about. You'll have that opportunity there too. If you look to the left down here, we have the green arrows. That's how you enter and exit the convention area for the Swan. The red arrow actually takes you to the elevators. I bring this up because those elevators take you to the floor where we have, oh, I'm probably going to get this wrong because my mind is reeling at the moment. Well, we have these rooms that you can, hospitality, thank you. Hospitality suites. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of those located on this floor. These are old sleeping rooms that have been converted into hospitality suites. There are no sleeping rooms in them or attached to them. There are no beds or furniture that you would have to move in that such a way. But it is a great place to have a hospitality suite if you are looking to have one of those. So let's take a look at the education and agenda highlights. So socials, Sunday, we will have our collaboration kickoffs. We will have our orientation, as we typically do, a first timers buddy meetup. We are also having a young professionals meetup. So I encourage you, if you have people in your organization that are under the age of 40, to go to this event so they can meet other people of like mind and age. It helps get them integrated into the ILTA community rather quickly and helps them meet new people who are also kind of new. So I encourage that. And then we're really hoping for some fantastic weather, because if it's fantastic, we're going to have quite the event out, the opening reception on the causeway between the Dolphin and the Swan. If it happens to be raining, which we will, there's actually a mathematical equation that they use for that at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So if that equation does not favor us, we will be having our opening reception in the Swan Ballroom and the Osprey Terrace and Ballroom areas. On Monday, we have our affinity receptions. We have the exhibit hall opening. Our theme this year is the ultimate tailgate party. Really looking forward to seeing what you guys come up with for that. Tuesday, we will have the ILTA and whoever sponsors it, Cocktail and Comedy Lounge. Same with Wednesday. And then our Thursday, we will have our closing reception, and our theme is Hot Tropical Nights. And we have been interviewing bands, and we have some great ones that we are listening to. And we will be locking that down shortly. That should be quite a fun time. This Thursday evening reception will be a lot different than we've had the last couple of years coming out of post-pandemic. We are now getting into the norm again. And this is going to be a very, very fun event. So Monday night, the exhibit hall opening is the ultimate tailgate party. I encourage you to do something fun in your booth where people are going to want to come out and hang with you. Maybe play a small sport with you, like, you know, cornhole, or I don't know, toss the football through Tyler's hands. Maybe we can get Tyler to pop into your booth, or I don't know, you can come up with something. And you know what? I recently learned that you can tailgate anything. So it doesn't just have to be sporting events. So you can come up with something for your booth that doesn't have anything to do with sports, but still tailgate. Because I learned that they actually do that at concerts now, and I didn't know that, but I don't get out much. So moving right along, we have places where you can find F&B, food and beverage. So we do have our opening reception on the causeway. Hopefully, Rain Options, the Swan Ballroom. Monday, we will be having coffee and a light breakfast bites at the opening keynote session. We will have breaks throughout. We do have our ILTA Cafe. We have our receptions, the Goat Lounge, and then the exhibit hall opening reception. On Tuesday, once again, coffee and light breakfast bites at the keynote, breaks throughout the ILTA Cafe, the Goat Lounge, and the ILTA and whoever sponsors it, Cocktail and Comedy Lounge. This is pretty much replicated on Wednesday. And then Thursday, the only difference is when it comes to lunch, the members will be at the annual meeting where they can have lunch there. And then for those who do not plan on attending that as a member, or if you are one of our partners in the exhibit hall, we will have lunch for you there. We will have coffee located in the exhibit hall for your move out. And then of course we have our fantastic closing reception, which will be hot tropical nights. I do hope to see you there because that's going to be so much fun. And just in case you're wondering if this question just popped into your head, does my registration badge allow me entrance into any of these things and in food and beverage? And I'm here to tell you that your badge, if you have a paying badge and your name is on that badge, you have access to everything that you see here, all food, unless you are a business partner, you cannot attend the annual business meeting lunch, but everything else is open to you. So you will have food and beverage and opportunity and education sessions to attend. All kinds of things are open to you. Actually, it's no different than what the members get. So you have access to all of that. So new things and good things I want to point out. This year, the press conference that we have every morning will move around. That way it can have they can have an opportunity to be closer to you guys in the exhibit hall. We have 2 registration desks for convenience. That is not separate registration desks. That is 2 registration desks for all badge types. All ILTACON registrations come with meals and receptions. We have the startup stage in the exhibit hall. We have the hands-off massage alley in the exhibit hall. We have the Nook Park in the exhibit hall, the Cocktail and Comedy Lounge, and my favorite, the Goat Lounge. We do have corporate day that's coming back on Monday that you have the opportunity to participate in and to sponsor. We have shortened exhibit hall hours per request. We will have a chat bot that right now we are having an internal staff competition for a cool name for the ILTACON website where you can ask for help. We have streaming keynote sessions and the annual group meeting. We have a pack meetup that you guys might want to attend. That would be really great for you. We will have focus group participation for the Reimagine ILTACON campaign that will begin in 2023 and continue until 2025 so that we are properly prepared for 2028. I know that seems like very futuristic, but that's kind of how this works. And so we look forward to having those focus groups and any ideas and thoughts that you might have. The golf carts are back. We're still working on that insurance piece. So in case you're not aware of that, it has been requested that business partners would love to be able to drive the golf carts and be able to chat with the members as they go from building to building. But we are still checking to see if that is a possibility through our insurance. We will let you know at the sponsorship meeting when that happens. The corporate day is Tuesday afternoon and Wednesday. I just got a question for that. And Thursday night plans on being just a killer party. There's a couple of myths I want to dispel. And these are myths maybe in the past because things were done differently. And we've made a lot of changes over the years to really bridge the gap for our business partners to make you part of our membership, just like our firm members. So in the past, it has been limited to the number of speaking slots you can have. We don't do that anymore. Our goal is to get the best speakers, the best thought leaders to be a part of our education sessions. And so we welcome you to submit. We welcome you to attend any and all education that you would like to attend. It is open and available to you. Our members are there. You get to learn what they're interested in and what's the hot topic. And that gives you more opportunity for talking points when you're at the receptions or if they come by your booth. Eating. Last year, we tried a badge type based on request from business partners to have a cheaper badge. If you went last year, some of you might not have been happy that your badge did not get you access to the receptions because of the lower price of the badge and the cost of the receptions. But we have taken that away because that seemed to be kind of unpopular. So now you can purchase additional badges, and every badge that you have for your organization that you have purchased comes with eating opportunities. Education collision. In past, you have not been able to have maybe a speaking session in your demo room during education, or a company update during education. And that is no longer the case. There are only 3 times when we ask that what you are doing does not collide with what ILTA is offering at ILTACON. And one is that we ask you not to produce anything during the annual business meeting during lunch on Thursday. During the exhibit hall opening, which quite frankly, that would actually be bad for you. So let's not do that. And then during the keynote session. Other than that, we can have education collision. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, badge types, we just have a couple different badge types this year. And quite frankly, the business partner badge is pretty much your only badge. So that gets you access to any and everything that we are offering at this event. We're not going to go into great detail on sponsorship opportunities because there are so many opportunities over 4 properties. But I do want to call out a few things to kind of get you thinking because I'm kind of excited about it. This kind of gives you some images on what people have done in the past at other events. This one's what I call the fun one. The Dolphin and Swan offers things that we don't have access to at other hotels. One of the things, if you look in the bottom right-hand corner, is Tyler's Vodka Iced Tea. Now, this really isn't Tyler's Vodka Iced Tea, but it's an example of one of the things that the Swan and Dolphin can do, where they can specific alcoholic beverages that you request with your custom label on it that you can hand out from your booth or from your event that you have on site. I thought that was kind of cool. Of course, we have the nooks. Over here is a couple of pictures where you can see the living hedge and have that little hand you a little cocktail coming through there. We've got the golf carts. Down here to the left, we have Sarah Ross, which is one of our keynotes. And then you see Jimmy Fallon, and although Jimmy Fallon will not be at ILTACON this year, the guy standing to the right of him, Ken the Mentalist, will be part of our event on Monday night in the exhibit hall, as well as on Tuesday morning for the keynote. You guys are getting a sneak peek of that because we haven't really announced that yet. And honestly, I just noticed that as I was speaking. So there's some insight. We do encourage you to spread the word. If you notice on each of our headings for the slides, you'll see pound ILTACON 2023. And that is the hashtag we ask you to use as you go forward with any marketing that you potentially do. When you do add that hashtag, then it alerts our marketing people to be able to see that and help promote whatever it is that you're promoting for ILTACON as well. And last, save the date. Let's take a look through 2031. I know that seems like a long way off, but we are contracted at these venues over the next few years. 2024, we are a little earlier, August 11th through the 15th at the Gaylord Opryland in Nashville. In 2025, August 10th through 14th at the Gaylord National Harbor in Maryland. 26, 23rd through 27th at the Gaylord Opryland in Nashville again. And then in 27, we're returning back to Nashville. Just in case you're wondering why we're in Nashville so much. In 2020, we were supposed to be at the Gaylord Opryland Nashville during COVID. And so this is part of our moving the contract forward.
Yeah, Dawn, I think your audio cut out. While we wait for Dawn to come back, just wanted to let everybody know that we did contract out. We did listen to everybody that they didn't like ILTACON's dates because they always seem to miss their kids' first day of school or taking their children to college. So we did work really hard to move ILTACON a little bit earlier. Dawn, are you back yet? No, all right, we've lost Dawn completely and we lost the picture. With that, I am going to, that was actually the last slide, couldn't have cut out at a better time.